Good afternoon. Like they said, my name is Aamon Torrez, and they kind of touched briefly on like my passion for music. For the longest time, I've been really interested in music, and not just necessarily like the music itself, but the people that are behind the music, the content creators, the producers, the artists themselves, and the performers. So it's kind of come into light recently that these producers aren't being compensated fairly. In fact, Taylor Swift actually penned a letter to Apple Incorporated asking them to compensate those people that are creating this media for them in that 3-month trial that they were offering. And this is because she's seen the repercussions that it's having on small musicians that are trying to get their foot in the door. So to kind of start us off, I'm going to talk about the problem that we're facing. So take into consideration, say, maybe an indie rock artist, up and coming, named Devin. She wants to be able to copyright her music because she now gets some interest by a big music record label. They're wanting her intellectual property. However, she doesn't have the means and the funding to copyright it herself through an actual attorney, through a law firm. So that's where intellectual law and order IP, intellectual property, comes from. It's an online site that you could download the files, edit them yourselves, and put in what you're trying to file your patents for. And then you would send that back to them, and you would get a legal review and a filing, and then you now have the ownership of those intellectual property rights. That's how the problem would work. So the solution I touched briefly on. So you would be able to download the files. You would edit them to what you're trying to copyright and what you are claiming ownership of, and then you would send that back for the legal review. We would file that on your behalf, and then you would then get a confirmation that you are, and the follow-up paperwork, that you are now the owner of that music and that intellectual property. So the product features. So in addition to the copywriting of the creative content and the legal review, you would also get that backing from us, that we're going to back you up in court if you ever get sued for not having the correct intellectual property. We'll take your back on that and say, we did file these and it is their intellectual property. Also, when a premium feature where you could subscribe to, you could get a chat function to guide you through the process, to maybe get some more information from professionals in the legal field that can kind of walk you through the steps of selling your intellectual property. As well as tutorials on how to market and advertise. Like I said, these are going to be up-and-coming indie artists that don't really know how to get their name out there and how to build a brand for themselves, and this is one of the ways that we could try and help them through that. As well as how to run a business effectively. If their sole passion in life is creating music and this creative content, they might not be the most business savvy, and we could probably try and provide them a way to get through that. So the market. So in addition to those indie artists that I was talking about, we also have songwriters. So we have songwriters that are trying to sell their songs to big record labels to get that, to get that income. We also have YouTubers. YouTube has become a big personality show, is what I like to think of it. You get these people that are trying to write books, and the way that they're John Green, for example. So if you have a young up-and-coming John Green, how are they going to claim the intellectual property if they don't have the resources necessary to get that copyright? As well as bloggers and social media personalities. How are you going to claim that a tweet is your intellectual property when it becomes big and turns into a meme that's reproduced everywhere? Sustainability. So in a world where creative content is constantly being generated, there is a viability for this. I mean, there is a reason that there is an entire field based off of intellectual property. The legal field is thriving because of people that are just constantly generating new ideas, and those new ideas need to have the ability to claim ownership over them. My competition and risks. So you guys may be familiar with a service that's already kind of doing something similar to this, which is LegalZoom. Now, LegalZoom doesn't kind of take the approach that we are, and by we I mean me. The approach that I'm trying to take on this is, more dedicated to you as a person, to the creative content. I want to know how a copyright is going to benefit your life, how you can continue to produce the music that you're so passionate about by claiming this as your own, and how that income can continue your future. The biggest risk is the marketing towards the right demographics. I mean, I'm going to need to get into those niches of those YouTubers that are trying to, become famous. Those indie musicians that are trying to sell their songs and their content. So my team, like I said, is just me as of right now. However, I will need to eventually expand that into lawyers that are willing to contribute their time and their efforts to, review these documents, submit the filings, and also to have the passion to represent the case if it ever goes to court. Right now, I'm asking for $50,000 in venture capital. That would include creating the website, as well as the necessary filing costs, and marketing and design team. Just try and get the word out there to those up-and-coming artists, and creating the website, making it visually attractive where people do want to come and view it. So thank you.